We got behind this user-generated kind of games idea with not knowing really if the tools were there, if it was possible and so on, but we believed absolutely in the concept. And once we believed in that, and we just went for it. And it's just the steps you take to get out of your comfort zone and just say, wow, I've been an entrepreneur in big companies in a safe environment where there is a salary, where there is plenty of good things. Get off. Real life is sometimes different. And out of this comes very, very good things. I believe this concept is big. When you start giving tools to a young audience that is coming with a game culture and that you tell them, okay, now do it yourself. You create an amazing groundswell enthusiasm. And people are going to be able to start putting things together like they do, when you start assembling Lego. And then you start thinking about, oh, I want this house to be bigger and I want this thing to be done differently. You give them the tool sets. And from that, and from their creativity, something big is going to happen. And I believe a lot in the creativity of people. And I think that's the passion I have. The passion I have is for a business that actually looks at the others and say they're going to be greater than actually what you give them. There's a big thing about casual. Casual for me means accessible. Means that you don't need to read the manual. You don't need to play with 10 fingers on your toes. You can basically, with one click, enjoy the experience and very, very quickly understand what you've got to do to enjoy the experience more and more. So for me, casual means accessible. It doesn't mean that you're not a hardcore gamer of casual games. You can be very hardcore. You can play hours and hours of casual games and therefore be a hardcore players. Now, MMOs, the element of MMOs is more about the social aspect of things, which exist in normal MMOs, all the games like EverQuest or World of Warcraft, for example. I've got a huge aspect which is about being social with your friends and creating communities or mini groups and so on and so forth. This exists. When you start combining accessibility on one side and the social element of gaming on the other side, I think what it basically brings is an interesting recipe for success and for millions of people to play.
Well, the business model for YoYo Games is first will be advertising. Mm-hmm. But let's not forget, YoYo Games...
Are we talking traditional banner ads and etc. around the games or ads in the game?
You can do both.
Right.
But the key element I think about the YoYo Games is it's a community-led website. Mm-hmm. So it's not only about the method of monetization, it is about as well understanding that when you have a community, you need to share the revenue with them, specifically when they contribute actually to the success of the site and the games that they produce. Mm-hmm. So once we think about advertising as being one of the business models, there's definitely ways for YoYo Games and for people who are publishing games and developing games actually on the site to eventually sell them. And so there will be, in the future, other business models associated to YoYo Games. One thing that I've learned actually through multiple jobs in games industry and in online games is that you need to start with something in mind that is, this is a business model I'm going to go for. But understand as well that there are some flexibility around it. Yeah. That you can monetize actually an audience in very, very different way, in a non-obtrusive way, which is actually what they want and what they like. Mm-hmm. And so it's a question of finding the right balance with actually different kind of target audiences that you have on your site. Some will come and just will want to play 5 minutes for free. And they wouldn't buy, for example, a new item. They wouldn't basically pay for a skill game. They wouldn't do that. They would just basically want to play for free and have a good time for 5 minutes. Well, you can cater for that and you can still monetize this audience. And advertising is probably the best way of doing so. And then there are other people who are going to come back on a regular basis, and those ones are your core customers, and definitely the monetization and prime monetization that you have will apply to those ones.
The great thing about being an entrepreneur is that if you really do things, you will learn every single day. And every single day you can change something and make your business get better. So what happens is that the great idea that you had at the beginning and your very bullish approach that you had as well to get it off the ground may change with time. But so what? It's for success. And because you've learned all the things in the way. So that's what I like about entrepreneurship.